Today I have another Sleigh in Snow and Cocoa. I am using a sketch that is paid content from a basic gray kit that I had showcased on my channel before. I will post a link down below to it, but I didn't want to showcase the layout again. I decided to use two pieces of paper, this pink with the snowflakes and the triangles, and then this white with the snow and birds and houses and things like that. I decided to go ahead and cut each of them by 6 by 12 and then used washi tape on both sides to create a 12 by 12 layout. I am using the cracked pistachio to distress all of the edges, and most of these centerpieces will get covered up with my photos. I am going to round the corners of those two black and whites, and I felt like I needed another strip of something up there next to the polka dots. So I pull out this purple washi tape, which is not a part of the collection, and there's not even purple in the colors of any of the paper, but I felt like this purple was in the same family color as the rest of the colors, so it worked well. I wanted to show you this trick here. If you're trying to line up paper across a 12 by 12, go ahead and overlap your paper as much as you can. So those two pieces that were very similar, I overlapped them, and then use my T-square ruler to make sure that they lined up in the same place. And then once I get it down, I do go ahead and make sure that it is lined up, because sometimes it's not necessarily that straight because you're trying to move papers around. But in this case, it was. I wanted to add a little extra touch to this layout by tearing the page, and I have seen quite a few people do this, and I wanted to showcase that in my layout. I did use a branding strip behind the paper to have that black and white peek out. It does look a lot better next to the pink, but I think that it works as well here. Even though it is still white, it gives you that extra black and white colors over there on that side. I did use my pop dots to get those down. I am trying to use those more because they are a little difficult to use against my ATG because I'm just so comfortable with my ATG, but it is a better hold because it goes exactly where I need it to, whereas the ATG, it has a little bit more difficulty trying to get into place, tiny places. I go ahead and cut this triangle, and I'm going to put that in the upper left hand corner, and I decided that I wanted to tear that as well to mimic the other two that I just tore. So I just tore a little notch in it and then folded it up and stapled it. I did add the distress ink to give it a little bit of color since it's not a double-sided paper. And that is the base of my layout. So what I'm going to do is lay down 4 4x4 photos, and those photos are going to cross the bottom of the layout. And then I have a 4x6 photo and another 4x6 photo, but I end up cutting that down to 3.5 by 5, just so that I could see more of that pattern behavior behind the pictures themselves. So I line up the 4 4x4s at the bottom, and then I line up the 2 photos at the top, making sure that they are the exact width on both sides. And so it does have like a grid feel, but not necessarily a grid look, if that makes any sense. I have this pink card here that says hot cocoa and fuzzy socks. I added 2 staples to it. There were 2 faux staples in it, so I felt like if I added a couple more, it would give it extra interest. I do use pop dots on it to pop it up, and I'm going to put it on the far left next to the picture of my nephew. So these photos were taken in the Great Escape Lodge. That's what it's called. I've been calling it a cabin, but I looked it up online and it's actually called the Great Escape Lodge. And the basement of this lodge was gorgeous. An open, huge open space. It had a gorgeous fireplace and it had entertainment systems. So if you notice, if you pay close attention to the photos, they are all kind of looking up because the TV is above the fireplace. So they were playing different games on the TV. And then there's also like a shuffleboard game over there on the far left-hand side as well. So I decide to add that little pink bear on the far left-hand side. And I did have to cut off the top there because it was a tag. So there's like a little hole at the top. And then I added this bear on this other tag that says Warm Wishes up there at the top. And I added a little tiny silver bow to cover up the hole on the top of the tag. I pull out this blue tealish snowflake and cut it in half and then tuck it behind the paper there. I did pick up the stamp sets. I went back to Tuesday morning and got those because I really needed some snowflakes, and I have the gold snowflakes, but sometimes I needed smaller snowflakes than what those were, and I felt like the stamp was perfect for that. So I'm going to add this kind of larger snowflake next to the hot cocoa and fuzzy socks. And then what I do is I use some washi tape to cover up the bear, and sorry about my head there, and then stamp the snowflake so it looks like the snowflake is behind the bear. And I also add a snowflake up there at the top with the black and white little triangle in the corner. Then I pull out this smaller snowflake, and this thing is super tiny. It's little tiny snowflakes, and that's perfect just to add a couple more details to each one of these and kind of bring everything around. I do like that I give that black touch to it. This is a brad and adhesive piece. Actually, I don't think there's any brad. I think it's all just like enamel dots and different faux brads that I'm going to add. It's from Jen Hatfield, so it is not from the collection. And I actually only end up adding one of them, which is that little wooden button with the pink and teal flowers up there at the top. Then I pull out the puffy stickers for this line, and I'm going to use a house up there, a little triangle house. It actually looks like what a roof or a peak of a house would be, but it actually has doors and windows on it, so I think it's supposed to be a triangle house. I thought I was going to use this cold as my title or part of my title, and so I leave that there on the right hand side, and I look through my wood veneers because I feel like I needed to have a wood veneer in each one of the clusters. I have one up there at the top with that wood button, and now I'm just looking for something in the wood veneers that I purchased, and I end up pulling out this little tiny envelope. I am really trying to use some of the washi tape. I am not a washi tape fan, but I did buy the washi tape with this collection, and I know that I'm not going to use it all, but I wanted to add a couple little pieces, so I just tore a piece of washi tape and added it down below. I like the way that it looks. It gives it a little extra dimension or texture down there at the bottom. I decided that my title is going to be No Fun Like Snow Fun. Even though we are not outside playing in the snow, this was one of the activities that we did because it was, in the negative 50s wind chill factors for our trip. It was part of our snow fun. I added these stickers, or I guess they're actually stickers. They're from Hobby Lobby, and they're a little bit older, and they definitely don't stick as well as like the foam stickers do, but they're really super cute with that black and the white, and then with the rhinestones. And so I like the way that those mimic each other, but they're different colors. I just used some pebble stickers in the black to add the smaller words. I then pull out my stamp again and add a little tiny snowflakes to the wood veneer, and then just around the page to add a few more snowflakes and let them blend in. So there are like teal snowflakes in that same shape on the paper, so I felt like the black snowflakes actually blended in really well. I am pulling out my enamel dots and adding 3 in each one of my clusters. And I do off camera decide to add a 3x4 card so that I could put my journaling on that. So you won't see that in the videos, but you will definitely see that in the close-ups. I pulled out these thickers here just to use some of the smaller pieces to add some silver because I realized that I only had that one silver bow. So I add a silver heart and that other shape that I told you that kind of looks like a Christmas tree. And that is it for me. Here is the final layout as well as some close-ups. If you like this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layouts, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's all you're going to get on my channel. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.